Let's start. Friends, family, strangers, lovers, welcome to the Golden Butterflies Podcast, Episode 3. Unfortunately, let me start that again. Fuck my life. Friends, family, strangers, lovers, welcome to the Golden Butterflies Podcast, Episode 3. Unfortunately, our lovely and radiant leaders, Trixie the Golden Witch and Krona Gigadonk, have abandoned us for greener pastures, making the dire mistake of leaving control of this show in my precious hooves. A decision they will surely come to regret shortly. Before we begin, I would like to take a roll call. When your name is called, please respond in any manner you please, to familiarize our audience at home with your unique voice and personality. Roda?
Hi!
Alright, Taperclip?
Hi.
Twice?
Any way you please.
Fizz the Dragon?
Meet more.
Eventually?
Good morning.
Abby?
Hello.
Hato?
I'm a bird.
Awesome. Alright. One by one, I will call each of you to the stand, and we will grill you mercilessly about your past, present, and future. Together we will dig deep into the recesses of your psyche, plunge past all the degenerate memes and refined traumas, past all the goop and the glop of our shared delusions, and locate the very essence of your being. The next 1 to 6 hours of your life will be grueling, humiliating, and possibly arousing. But when the dust has settled and the smoke is cleared, you shall emerge no longer a vile, pathetic worm, but a radiant and shining butterfly. Let us begin. Roda, please.
Yes.
Tell us where you were on 9/11.
I was actually at my aunt's house, and I can't remember if that was a school day or not, but I was at my aunt's house, and I remember her saying, shit, and explaining what just happened, and I was like, oh, wow.
I see.
Yeah.
The
I was
end?
in 3rd grade. I barely remember this.
Yeah? No, it was a traumatic time for all of us.
Yeah.
So tell me about your background. Tell me some things about where you come from and who you are.
Well, I'm just some guy from West Virginia. I remember when I was a kid, that same aunt had 2 daughters, and so we lived next door to them, so I was always over that house, so they were more like my sisters than my cousins. And I remember, they had a computer, so of course I wanted a computer. And then, they had internet, and I saw the internet at school, and so of course I wanted internet, but we didn't really get internet until 2004, 2005. Big mistake, because now I am who I am today.
Well, fantastic. Tell us a little bit about the creative work that you do. I know you run a YouTube channel. I've seen it. I've watched you on the internet.
Oh, God.
I know, it's mortifying.
Well, you know that alignment chart where, like, one of the alignments is spite? That's my YouTube channel. I was sick of hearing all these people saying, Linux is hard. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make this YouTube channel and show you it's really fucking easy.
Well, it's really funny. It's funny that you say
yeah.
it has to do with spite, because it doesn't seem very spiteful to me. It's very joyous. I really like the way you approach teaching.
Aw, that's very sweet of you. So the funny thing is, the channel didn't actually start out that way. Before I started doing the voiceover and all doing what it is now, and there's actually a pilot episode that you can watch where I explain this, but it was originally to make Linux stock footage for other creators to use. But then I was like, if I just make Linux stock footage, nobody's going to hear about this. So I might as well just, do what I do now, and then people might actually see it, and then, I'll just tell them, hey, you can use this footage for whatever, which all those videos should be under a Creative Commons attribution license. So please, if you need computery stock footage or Linux stock footage, whatever, please use my videos.
That's fantastic. Okay. Now, how would you describe your role in the Golden Butterflies community?
I don't know. I'm just kind of happy to be here.
Well, I see you often. You're a very frequent poster, which is why I was very adamant that you needed to be on this episode and introduced in this podcast, as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I suppose, tell us about, you have one of the more iconic profile pictures of all of us. Please tell me about your creation process with making the horse, the evil and intimidating, beautiful horse.
Okay, first of all, it's a unicorn.
Well, yes, it is a unicorn, but a unicorn is a horse. We're not doing, look, buddy, we're not doing the debate. We're not doing the unicorn horse debate again. Okay. Let's just,
Okay.
We'll cut this. We'll just roll past it.
Okay, that's another podcast episode. But
Yeah.
So I was in high school, and I'm a writer. So I know we didn't mention that yet, but I am a writer, and I wrote a story. I'm not gonna say what it's called because I wrote it when I was a junior in high school, and it's fucking cringe, and I will die of embarrassment if people see it. But it involved unicorns, and it was like, oh, I was actually a unicorn and were born as a human. So I basically took a picture of a horse off the internet, and I colored it pink, and I I stole an image of a horn off DeviantArt. Whoever made that image, I'm sorry. I will never fucking find you again to credit you. But, I just took that because somebody made, little, physical unicorn horns and took a picture of them and posted it on DeviantArt. And I, cut that out and stuck it on the horse. And all in GIMP because I couldn't
GIMP,
afford
my
Photoshop.
love. GIMP, my love. I still use GIMP to this day. That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of drama about the fucking name of that app.
Oh boy. I mean, I'm sure we'll get onto it at some point in this podcast. But I would love if you told me just how you wound up in this little shared universe that we have.
Okay, so back in the day when I was in middle school, I went through animation and anime and all that stuff are for babies. And then in high school, I calmed down a little bit, but I was still like, I don't like anime. And then
I still don't like anime. But I like cartoons, though.
Well, so in about 2011, one of my friends was like, hey, you should watch Puella Magica Magica. And I watched it, and it was great. And so I softened up a little bit. And then in 2013, that same friend was like, hey, watch Attack on Titan. It's great. And I did like Attack on Titan. So that kind of slowly made me warm up to anime. And then finally in 2016, I went through my middle school anime phase at the ripe age of 23. And
nice.
So I went on YouTube and I was like looking at anime videos no. Back up. I didn't go on YouTube. I was on Tumblr. And I had followed some people who were also into anime. And somebody posted a video from this guy named Digibro called How to Tell that an anime is terrible in just one episode or something like that. And I watched this and I was like, wow, this guy's an asshole. Fuck him. and so then...
hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck Digibro. I think that's an official stance of this podcast is fuck Digibro.
Yeah, but I really liked his videos. And then so back up. Before I liked his videos, I watched Serial Experiments Lane, and I was like, oh, I should watch videos about this. And then I watched Digibro's analysis series on that show, but I didn't realize it was the same person. And then I looked at the name, I'm like, wait, is this the same guy? And then I looked, and it's like, oh, that one video I watched before, it actually has 2 parts before that. So I watched those. It was like, okay, maybe this guy's not such an asshole. So I kept watching him, and I think he died, because every time I bring him up,
Yes.
people say I'm dead naming him, so pretty sure he's dead. And
He
then
did
at
die.
yeah, and then at some point, Trixie took over the channel. I don't know anything about that. Maybe she's his sister or something. But yeah, she's pretty cool, so I stuck around, and eventually she started the We Watch Anime podcast.
Yes. The infamous, the genesis point of this whole collective problem that we've made ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So I watched. I didn't join right away. I joined the Discord and the podcast. I think it was their 2nd or 3rd season they were doing it, and it was the one where they started watching classic shows, and that's how I watched Revolutionary Girl Utena, and finally got around to watching Monster, and also the only reason I stuck with Mushoku Tensei Season 2, because I'm not going to relitigate that because I've said it a million times on the server, but yeah, suffice to say, I did not continue with Mushoku Tensei after Season 2. So
Fantastic. All right, and what would you describe as what are your goals as a creative when you make stuff? What do you want?
So for the YouTube channel, I'll do YouTube and writing separately. For the YouTube channel, back when I first started Linux, I found this guy named Joe Collins, and he still makes Linux videos from time to time, but he was such a great influence on me, and he really helped me build the confidence to switch to Linux. And so I kind of want to be Joe Collins for somebody else.
I see. That's a very noble pursuit, I think. Because I feel like I know how much Linux, how passionate you are about this topic, and I feel like a lot of people who are very passionate about Linux, it comes through in just pure nerd rage, and I do love me some nerd rage. However, it's hardly constructive, and if your goal is to educate people, coming at it from a place of kindness and making it fun is the best possible thing you can do. So similarly, what would you say are your goals as a person? Oh, sorry, my apologies. You said you teed up writing, and I totally bulldozed it. What are your goals as a writer?
So I think it'd be nice to have a massive audience. It'd be
Yes.
Stephen King level. Have TV shows and movies made out of my
I would
writing.
buy that book. I would buy, if a book said Evil Roda on it and had a picture of a unicorn on the back, I'd buy that shit.
But no, I know that's probably not going to happen. But if I get, even just a small audience of people who like my stuff, I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I work very slowly, and I get distracted at the best of times with my writings. The YouTube channel is a lot easier because, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, I just show up. The writing is, I actually have to do work. So yeah, it's, so yeah, I only have I have a NeoCities, which I'll shout out at the end.
Please
but,
do.
I only have 2 stories up there, and one of them is supposed to be a series, and I forgot to even put part 1 at the end of it.
That's good. That you've left yourself. It can be like a short story on its own. But then when you come in with the next part, it's like, psh, holy shit! It's a whole other. I didn't even know that was going to get continued. Is NeoCities a good place to release writing? I've been thinking about where to release writing.
So the problem with NeoCities is it's basically just your blog, and
Yes.
and so you do have to kind of mark tell people outside of NeoCities, hey, I did this thing. I've been thinking about putting, because I do want to do web serials, and I was thinking of putting them primarily maybe on Royal Road and maybe using Honeyfeed as like a backup place as well. I don't know yet. My problem with this is, I keep thinking of this, and a lot of other people do this too. We keep thinking, oh, what am I going to do when I finish the book? But first, you got to finish the story,
Well, of course. That is the first number one thing. All right.
Yeah.
Now to continue, what would you say are your goals as a person?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm just kind of trying to live and as they say, take it a day at a time.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something noble in that,
Yeah.
All right. And that is the end of my questions. So now I will be opening the floor for a few minutes for everyone else to ask Rhoda any questions. Also, I did lie in my intro. Krona is here, so then she will be asking questions. So, please go ahead.
Linux question in particular. Are you mean to people who use Ubuntu?
No, I used Ubuntu for a very long time. Actually, the first Linux I switched to was Ubuntu Mate back in 2016. It was 16. I remember this because that's they released the first point release of Ubuntu on my birthday. So I spent my birthday switching to Linux on my old laptop. So that was when I first went full time with it. I was running Ubuntu, and then I ran a few other distros, and then I think maybe 2018 or 2019, I went back to Ubuntu and kept running Ubuntu until 24.04, and then I switched to Fedora, and I'm running Fedora right now, which I do prefer Fedora, but if you prefer Ubuntu... Yeah?
They have a Linux thing called Fedora?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
insane.
Listen. Fedora is older than Ubuntu. It's been around a while.
That I can tell with a name like that. Good lord.
Yeah. But no, I do like Fedora better, but if you like Ubuntu better, hey, that's great. I just there are some things that Ubuntu does and Canonical, the primary maintainers of Ubuntu, do that I don't like. But that's not on the user. I'll criticize Canonical every day of the fucking week, but I'm not going to criticize somebody for using it.
Yeah.
Thank you kindly for not being one of those Linux users who get very mad at people who use Ubuntu, because I am not the brightest bean in the box.
We're on the same page there.
I've played around with Linux. It's not really suitable for my work, but I like it. It's cool, and it's fun to play with. And I've played with Ubuntu, and I've played with Mint a bit, and it's cool. It's neat. It's a neat world. Anyone else questions for Rhoda?
Yeah, real quick. Roda, what is your favorite flavor of cheese?
Oh, okay. So, I've been on a ricotta kick. Ricotta goes on everything. Okay, I've tried it on fried chicken. I've tried it putting it on pepperoni rolls. Oh god, you people don't know what pepperoni rolls are, but
I know
they're
what
delicious.
Pepperoni roll is.
Hey, Sarah. Okay, cool.
I know.
But,
I love delicious shit.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Ricotta goes on everything. Otherwise, I also quite like Munster and Gouda, all kinds of cheeses.
Writing this down in my cheese diary.
Fantastic.
Oh boy.
All right. Any more questions? All right. I think that's it. Taper Clip, you are up next, my guy.
Hey, what's up?
All right. Let's get right into it. Where were you on 9/11? I suspect you were in one of the planes trying to stop them.
Yeah, I think if we get into too much detail, we'll get this channel struck for things that are unfriendly to YouTube. So I'll keep that
Good idea.
to myself.
Good idea. All right. Well, tell us about your creative work then. What is it that drives your life? I know you, for anyone listening, Taperclip drew the delicious, beautiful thumbnails that all of our podcasts have had so far. So obviously he's a great artist.
Kino's going to do this one. I'm going to color it and add some effects, but the bulk of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be my first collab with Kino. I'm so excited.
Shout out Kino.
Yeah. I did like a rough sketch of like where everyone's gonna go, and I'm like, there's a lot of people. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done on time, and so I passed it off to Kino's, and I'm very lucky that they picked it up. Love their art so much.
So tell me about your work. Tell me about how you got started drawing and what you like to do. What you like to do with it.
Yeah, I love manga. Over on YouTube at Taperclip, I review manga, and if you want to see the manga I made, you go to taperclip.neocities.org. That's going to have a list of all the stuff that I've made. I make a lot of manga one-shots. I have made more shoujo than anything. That's the genre I'm most drawn to, but, I like to mix it up. I draw a lot of different kinds.
You are a fantastic artist. Let me say,
thank you.
I love your art, and I have not read your manga yet, but I should. I will.
It's okay.
I'm a slow reader, but I will do it.
Okay.
Especially since it's available digitally, which will make it a little easier to read than if it was like a book.
I'm like Roda. I'm going through my middle school anime phase. Little late in life, so that is very much who my manga appeals to, people going through their middle school anime phase. So I don't want to like push it too hard. What was that?
I'm wondering how far back I can push my middle school anime phase. I'm 30 now, and I'm wondering if like maybe I should have it happen at like 37 or 8.
Yeah, instead of the midlife crisis, get the middle school anime phase at that
exactly.
age.
Yeah.
Exactly. 1997. Hello, dearie. Have you seen this Madoka
Have you seen Jujutsu Kaisen? Anyway, how would you describe your role in the Golden Butterflies?
Ascended background character. Still working on the ascended part.
I think you're one of the longest long-time posters.
Yeah. I think
you're a big poster.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Roda joined before me, but yes. I am one of the old heads.
You're one of the people I remember from when I first joined, when this was merely a very Reddit flavored anime.
Yeah.
Like admins, don't talk about food in the anime discussion chat or we'll ban you sort of meme.
Yeah. Over the years we've done a good job of de-Reddifying this anime Discord, which is not an easy task. Going down the salt mines and.
I thought we were done. I thought we were done with de-Reddifying it, but then I just learned now that Roda is using something called Fedora, and now I have to call people. I have to make some calls, see if I can figure out what's going on. Alrighty. Well, tell us a little bit about that. How you wound up in this mess.
Well, during a stream, Trixie said, "I hate making thumbnails. Somebody please make me YouTube."
I remember that,
and I was like, I love making stupid YouTube thumbnails, because if you go on my YouTube channel, it is the ugliest, trashiest thumbnails you've ever seen.
I love your channel. It's so cursed.
Thank you. I'm trying to this is my character arc in 2026. I want to mellow the hell out and bring less of angry gamer energy on my channel. So I'm trying to soften the thumbnails. But when Trixie said that was when I was at my peak YouTube mind, like where I was just pumping out a lot of content, doing like the weekly video essays on like, here's why this Daily Wire movie is bad, like every week, just hitting that grind, and I'm like, oh, Trixie, my liege, I could make you terrible, ugly thumbnails to play the algorithm.
That's awesome.
And so I joined the server because I was like, I joined her. She had another server before that I had joined, but that was little too anime club for my taste. So I just kind of like quietly slipped out the back door while no one was looking. And this one, I'd say the vibe was a lot more chill, but I still like went in like, okay, I'm here with a purpose. I want I'm here for this job, so I could defer to that. And that was like kind of my mindset. It kind of like stayed my mindset, and but luckily it didn't get to like. It never felt too marketing brained, for lack of a better term. Like oh, we're all here to to either brag about what anime we've watched or try to network. Like luckily it never got like that, and it is just like a really cool friend group. And I'm glad that
there is
this
nothing. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. What were you gonna say?
There is nothing more pathetic to me than bragging about watching a TV show.
Yo, same. Yeah. That because I don't keep
TV
up with
shows are
anime.
amazing, but they're not something watching something isn't like consuming is great, but it's not something to like. Tell me about why you like the thing, not just fold your arms and say, "Look at me, I'm so smart and sophisticated because I watch I watch Poo Poo No Pee Pee. Do you watch Poo Poo No Pee Pee?"
Well, I have read Peepo Cho. That is a manga. It is
that is a real thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I can go on the tangent of all, because that is in the category of broadly in the category of international manga, depending on how you define manga. That one is notable because the author Felipe Smith is from America, and he was one of the first to get published and serialized in Japan, and I really am interested in the and how in manga as an international art form and how it is evolving, and how do we classify manga if it is no longer strictly defined by where it comes from, and to see it more as an evolving art style and movement, and that's something that endlessly fascinates me. I don't have an answer for how do you define a manga?
Yeah.
or what is anime? I just know
That's very philosophical.
I just hate it. I'll just tell you what, like, it's one of those I know it when I see it, but it's also I kind of hate it when I, like, if you say like, oh, Avatar's my favorite anime, and if someone says like Avatar's not an anime, that's how I know, like, okay, I can't talk to you. Like, it's like I feel like it's easier to define things by what they're not, and to try to like narrow it down.
Exactly.
But I have no problem saying that what I make is manga because it is cringe, and all manga is cringe. You should never forget that.
There it is.
That if you like manga, if you like anime, you are cringe. You need to embrace that cringe. You are not like, just because you read the artsy fartsy stuff doesn't mean you're better.
I love it.
The people read the
That's
slop.
Fantastic.
Oh my
All right,
god!
tell me a little bit about your goals as a creative.
Oh, my goals. Wow.
Yes.
Well, I want to hopefully keep my YouTube channel around. I guess that's not really a creative goal, because for me, YouTube's kind of like I just hit it for money.
Yeah.
And it spits out coins, and I would like to keep doing that, which I know sounds very cynical, but I'm gonna quote something that Corona once said that's just been like living rent free in my mind. Corona's so funny. Like she's just always. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'll save the Corona gushing for later. But she said like I'm in an abusive relationship with my job where oh gosh, oh my god, I'm gonna mess it up. Corona, I'm gonna come to you like you're a great philosopher. Do you remember this thing that you said about your job being an abusive relationship?
Yeah. My life's end goal is to be in an abusive relationship with my job where I am the abuser.
Yes.
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 That's it. Yes. Thank you.
Fucking preach.
Yes. That is kind of how I see YouTube. I know there's like a lot, like everyone else here, they treat it more as an art form, and I love that. I'll say, I know that sounds, I love that for you. I don't want to sound like that, but like for me, it's like, I just, like, I want to have that abusive relationship where...
Beat that what?
I know that
Beat
sounds cynical.
what?
I know that sounds cynical.
Fucking beat her.
But,
Shit.
yeah, I found a format for YouTube that works for my brain, that feels like okay, that makes me not feel like I'm going crazy, and hopefully I can keep that monetized.
I think your
and
videos
if not,
are great.
then oh well, then just got to go back to
I think
Wendy's.
I think your videos are great, and you talk about things I don't give a single shit about, and you make me laugh.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
I enjoy
That's
watching
awesome.
them.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
All right. Similarly,
Yeah, if I can bridge that gap, that's good.
Yes, I think so. Similarly, what would you say are your goals as a person?
As a person, I just want to keep making manga. Whether that's
I mean, that's a
through
great
the
goal.
traditional publishing route or self-publishing, and I'm looking more at self-publishing lately. And
I would
trying
love
to see how I
buy
can...
one of your books. I would love to
Okay,
pay
but
money for a
It's gonna
physical.
be cringe.
That's
It's gonna
fine.
be cringe. It's gonna have it's gonna have the parental guided sticker and the warning cringe inside sticker on the cover. So just so you know, But
I'm
thank
gonna,
you.
and I'm
thank
gonna
you.
put it. I'm gonna put it on my shelf with all of my like boutique graphic novels and all of my pretentious bullshit, and it's gonna live there, and it's gonna be friends with blankets and Alan Moore, and it's gonna be.
Oh my gosh.
It's gonna be celebrated and loved. All right. I think
thank
that is
you.
a good
I feel
a
very
good place
loved.
to leave it for group questions. If anyone
yeah.
has any questions for Taperclip, let's hear them.
Yes, Taper. What is your favorite flavor of cheese?
Cheese. I like Swiss. Swiss is good. I like
Oh,
a nice
you're so good.
aged
Based
Swiss.
as fuck.
That's good.
Oh my god.
You just eat
I
that
love
raw, it's
Swiss.
Thank Christ. I knew you were cool. I knew you were a real one, Taper.
My wife says Swiss tastes like feet, and you know what? I like the taste of feet.
good. Yeah.
Delicious.
Put my snoot
Fantastic.
through the hole.
The whole of what? Oh, the cheese. My bad.
The cheese
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah, the cheese hole.
All right. Any more questions for Taperclip?
Paper. What is your favorite activity to do in Animal Crossing?
I
That's a
love
great
fishing. I love fishing in Animal Crossing. Oh, I love it so much. I just terraform my island so there's more rivers, so there's more fishies. I love it. Thank
That's
you. I do love
fantastic.
Animal Crossing.
I need to get back on my Animal Crossing bullshit someday.
Yeah, I'm waiting for I know Pokopia was just came out, but I'm waiting for like a proper Animal Crossing game to be released for
Yes.
Switch 2 to buy the next Switch. That's been like every console upgrade I've gotten is just like is
That would
always
make me
an
do
Animal
it.
Crossing. yes,
That's the reason I haven't bit the bullet on a Switch 2 yet, is because like there
Yeah.
hasn't been anything that's like been like, okay, ooh, Donkey Kong, I do like Donkey Kong. I don't really give a shit about Mario Kart World.
Oh, banana.
Oh, banana.
It looks
All right,
like
any more-
Yakuman had a question in the text chat. Question for Taper.
Oh, darn.
All right,
Sorry,
let's
I didn't see that.
open it
Top
up to
3 hottest
Yakuman.
ponies. Oh boy.
Top
Oh,
3
fuck.
hottest ponies.
Answer wisely. Taperclip. Answer wisely.
Dude, are we drawing exclusively from Friendship is
Number
Dead
3, Roda.
ponies, or yeah,
No, I think all ponies.
all ponies.
Also, Rody.
Yeah. Well, let's
Roda,
see.
Roda, Roda.
We don't want to, because we have 2 ponies in chat right now. So there's Rhoda and you, Sarah. So you are definitely top 2 hottest in my heart.
Thank you.
And then
I very much appreciate you.
and number 3 probably Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, baby.
True.
I love
Woo!
Pinkie Pie.
What the hell? Sarah
We
is
fucking
Pinkie
win.
Pie. You can't put the same pony twice.
Wait, twice?
That's unfair, but I'll allow it because
Sorry,
it's me.
what did you say?
I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Been waiting.
I love Pinkie Pie.
All right, any
loves
more
Pinkie
questions
Pie.
for our favorite taper clip?
Okay, I have one more.
Okay, one more.
If the court will
From
allow
Roda.
it. Okay,
course.
Taper. What do you think of the following copy pasta?
Fucking Christ.
LOL. Us diaper fetish folk also think Marvel movies are epic. My amazingly witty partner was changing my nappy the other day, and she, with zero hesitation, said, "Phew, did Thanos wear this frickin' diaper or what? I laughed until I cried. Absolutely epic."
That's beautiful. That's poetry. I love that. How have I never heard that before? Oh my god. Did you just think of that?
No, it's a thing. I've seen that post a million
Oh my
times.
God.
Sarah knows.
I do.
She knows.
I'm not as tapped into the diaper fandom as I thought I was. If I've never heard that, that was gorgeous. A 10 out of 10 copy pasta. Spread that everywhere.
Clearly, you gotta watch more Marvel movies.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm missing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the cultural divide there, is you haven't seen enough Marvel movies.
It's a
Yeah.
classic for me. There's so many layers to it, you know? It's making me imagine Thanos in a diaper. It's making me imagine a guy laying on his back getting his diaper changed while laughing till he cries. It's making me imagine British people. There's a lot of layers to it.
Oh, just
10
the
out of 10.
idea. Sorry, the idea of like British diaper fetishists is like destroying my brain right now. I don't like that.
Blimey, have you had a shit in your nappy?
Exactly. Stop. Fuck. Okay. No more questions. We're moving on. I'm calling it there.
Getting
Next
myself
up,
in.
New York Times called her the girl so nice, you call her twice. Twice. Where were you on 9/11?
Elementary school.
Yeah.
In New York. I'm not gonna say
Fuck.
it. But yeah, I was in New York and I was in elementary school and yeah.
Did they like, what grade were you in?
Oh shit, I don't remember, but I remember getting sent home early.
Yeah, I also got sent home early. Or I didn't get sent home, I got picked up by my parents. They didn't send everyone home, but my parents were like, we don't like this.
No, it was like each person. I had to wait for my mother because my father was in the city.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh, like we joke about 9/11, of course, because why wouldn't we? We're
Yeah,
Americans,
sadly,
it's our right.
sadly they did
But-
miss. Sadly, they did miss my father.
Good. I'm glad they killed your father. All right. Tell us about your creative work. What you do.
What I do is nothing.
Yes. You do nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
You don't draw. You don't write or paint or
Nope.
slap your hands together in a rhythmic fashion.
No, I do a lot of staring at the wall and waiting to be summoned.
That can be an art. You were ready to jump when someone said your name accidentally. Actually, since you don't have much work to speak of, I suppose, let's ask about your name, because that's an awesome name. Twice is an awesome name. Like,
All right,
instantly
all right.
iconic and cool.
Well, basically, my birth name meant twin, and so since it means twin and it kind of starts with the same letter, I decided to screw up everyone's day by naming myself a common word.
I love it. Like, that's the kind of chaos I wish that I had, like, thought of when I was naming myself. Now, it's far too late for me to adapt to anything else, but I love that. I love Twice. And I love, there's so many opportunities for jokes and wordplay. Like, like what I did just off the top of the segment, like, great stuff. So how would you describe, then, your role in the server, in this collective?
Pretty hands off, but I guess I'm kind of the tech support.
You are.
Yes.
You helped Twice, for the listeners at home, Twice helped hella troubleshoot this podcast today. So, like, give her specifically some love, because that was very helpful, and I appreciate your help a lot.
Welcome. But yeah, I am pretty good with tech support, and I don't know, I get the bots sorted out in the server. I don't know, I help where I can.
You're a smart cookie. So how did you get here?
Oh, well, my boyfriend, that would be Z Cypher, was
our very own Go Boy.
Exactly. One time I was sitting on the couch next to him, I think, and he said something about how everyone was going to be reading Worm in this server, and so I immediately asked to join, and then everyone immediately said, "Fuck you, we're not reading Worm." So I said, "That's fair. That's pretty good."
That's a good bit. We should do that more often. We should advertise that we're going to be doing someone's special interest, and then tell them to kill themselves when it comes time.
Yeah, I mean that's really honestly what you got to do.
Yeah. So that was good. I guess this is a good opportunity to ask, because I've never bothered looking into it. What the fuck is Worm? I hear many of you talk about Worm all day.
Oh boy, here we go.
And in
6-hour podcast.
As brief a term as you can. I mean, I said it at the top. In as brief a terms as you can, what is Worm?
I'm going to try to do one breath.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Worm is a superhero story in which everyone has really shitty lives, and if you have a really, really shitty life, then you get a superpower that only reminds you of your trauma on the worst day of your life. Mm-hmm. And everyone kind of is a damaged individual.
That's fantastic. Okay. That's a pretty cool conceit. I am willing to read a comic for someone, so I will read that.
Unfortunately, it's not a comic. It's not a comic. Just a book.
I thought it was a comic. That's fine. I can read a book.
I can't.
I will read a book for you.
I have read it. It's a good book. I do recommend it. It's really long, but it's really good.
That's fine. I like a long book.
I like them long, too.
Have you read Infinite Jest, the classic long book?
No, it's probably not as long as Worm.
It's probably not as long. It's probably just because Infinite Jest is harder because it's it's pretty long, but also just insanely stupidly dense. It's multi-phase plot across 3 different settings. How long is Worm, word count?
We're looking in the realm of only 1.7 million words long.
Okay, 1.7 million. All right.
I know that I've read a couple 2 million word long stories, and I know those are around 4,000 pages. So
that's big.
It depends, of course, on a lot of page length stuff.
Yeah, to clarify for anyone who doesn't know, Infinite Jest, you said it's a really, really long book, right?
It is a fairly long novel, as far as novels go.
That's around 500,000 words. Yes. So we're talking...
Yeah, easily double. More than double.
Easily triple.
That's awesome. I love that. How does one... Is it just online, or are there printed versions of this?
It is just online, and it is just free.
That's awesome. I love free stuff. Go read Worm, everybody.
Later, we gotta talk about the printed thing, because there's a funny story behind that.
I'm sure.
That Twice can tell.
Any work that massive that tries to get printed has a funny story attached to it.
Well, so at some point the author did try to get it published, and they were basically told to revise the story in a bunch of really idiotic ways. For instance, they were told that the first line of the novel should be, "Take that, you worm." Which...
That's where the meme comes from?
That is exactly where the meme comes from, is because he talked to a publisher, and the publisher told him that's what the first line needs to be.
What the fuck?
And he said, never mind. I'm actually okay not publishing this.
That's amazing. All right. So, sorry, I'm redoing my notes because I literally wasn't prepared for someone who doesn't like have like art that they do. Let's skip to goals as a person. What do you want to get out of being a person?
I don't know. I try to live my life being nice and being helpful. I try to make sure I'm always learning things and always improving what I can do. Mm-hmm. And one of the easier things is that, for instance, the voice that I'm speaking with here is not like the voice that I had when I was a child. And it's not the voice that I was using, 5 years ago. And you don't have to take classes or anything. You can just learn things as you so choose.
Exactly. I think we get a little restrictive on like the idea that you need to go and pay someone to do something, like when we have so much information available to us for free because of these systems that we've built, and the systems have their ups and downs and their downs and their downs and their downs, but we can use them in good ways. I think.
So we can go to like Roda's YouTube and we can learn about Linux.
Yeah, we can Linux it up and it'll be easy because Roda's doing it, and I can put on my fedora, and I can put fedora on my machine.
Put on your Rogan wizard hat.
I can tip, and I can say nice meme, and give some gold. So if anyone has any questions for Twice, I read eventually on my screen. For Twice, let's do them now.
First off, thank you for the gold, kind stranger. Secondly, Miss Twice, cheese favorite
Pepper Jack.
Your is what?
Pepper Jack.
Pepper Jack. Good stuff.
What can I say? I like to jack it.
Yes! Yes, me too!
Fuck! Is there a non-based answer to the cheese question? Like, is there one where you're gonna be like, fuck you?
Cheddar, probably.
Yeah, if someone says their favorite cheese is cheddar, I'm gonna think they're lying.
Or American. If someone says American cheese, you can kind of just put them in the trash can.
It's, I mean,
I'm gonna whiz out.
I consider I consider that a form of avoiding the question.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Twice?
Why is it when I ask about video game recommendations, you always have like 30 of them you can think of off the top of your head immediately? How do you do that?
That's because I've played something like 1,000 different games.
That's
I don't know.
insane to me.
My Steam library, if I just pull it up here real quick, currently in my Steam library, and not my GOG library or anything like that. Let's see. I have 1,369 games.
That's crazy. I struggle a lot with playing new games, so the idea of just being able to grab something and play it and be like, okay, I got this, is like mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of the thing is that you learn that there's a lot of commonalities between basically anything, right? Like, so there's commonalities between books, and we call those tropes. And there's commonalities between game controls, and we call that game design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how one gets like a very negative kind of connotation, and the other gets like a neutral to positive connotation.
Yeah. And once you kind of speak the language of a story, and you understand its tropes, you can kind of guess where the story's going to go.
Right.
And when you understand the games, you can kind of just understand how you're supposed to act.
Would you say it's like focused on around like specific genres, or are you just kind of all over the map? Like,
Really all over the place.
Good.
If someone asks for a specific genre of game, I can give them, as Corona was saying, like 30 different games that I recommend.
that's awesome. That's like really useful though. Like, and like also like points to some real understanding of video games. Like, to be able to jump into all these genres and know them and live them and do so without wanting to die.
It's also interesting to me how Twice you seem to be a very like the way that you engage with video games is very different from how I do, because I feel like I do it in a very casual sort of like I just want to feel the vibes of this game, and like I can get good at it, but it's mostly just about how it makes me feel. Whereas you will find a game that's like really unique and interesting, and you'll spec really hard into being good at it, and to the point that I can't even comprehend what's happening. Like, I visited Vincent and Twice and Abby a few months back, and Twice was like, "Look at this video game. It's 4D golf," and I could not fucking comprehend what I was looking at.
That sounds like fun.
I was
mini
actually
golf.
shown that game, I think the previous day by Abby.
Wow.
Or it might have been earlier that day. It was a lot of fun.
Not to jump.
That's really fun.
Not to jump
comprehend what I
too
was
far
saying.
ahead, but me and Twice share a lot in common with playing a lot of games.
Nice.
Yes.
It's fucking epic. It's like fucking mini golf being played through a kaleidoscope. It was some next level shit.
Alrighty. I think we can move on now. I think we're good on that. All right, Fizz the Dragon, you are up next.
Hello.
Hello.
I am Fizzy Plague Lad, the plague on humanity. I am on various things in various places, but the main place you can find me is wondering.inc. And that's
Wondering.inc.
It's spelled
All
with a
right.
U.
Tell me. I'm gonna put the 9/11 joke on ice for a second. What is this site that you've just described to me?
Wondering.inc is my personal domain, which is currently a WordPress site that is connected to the indie web and will soon be a Neko website of my own creation.
Ooh, that's really dope. Can you explain what these sort of things are to stupid people like me?
I do a lot of different things, and I get interested in a lot of different things, and then I just, yes, unceremoniously drop because I end up being too unable to spell to do anything technical. Because I will just misspell variables the moment I need to start doing a code.
I fucking feel that. I'm bad with typos and misspellings all day.
The indie web is a protocol that is trying to, you do not own the things that you create on social media, and they can just be deleted immediately. So connect everything to a site that you made. So I decided to do that.
That's pretty smart. What do you do creative work, and host it through this site?
Technically.
Technically?
I do.
In what form?
I do a bit of everything.
Okay.
And by everything, I do mean everything. Game dev, soliloquizing, which is what I call my writing, because it's not poetry, and it's not prose.
Awesome.
It's soliloquizing. I'm being pretentious and stupid when I do it.
That kicks ass. No, I'm so into
3D
that.
modeling, primarily for VR chat. 2D art, or digital. 2D art, physical, including stamp making. I have many, many hobbies, and I do not have room in my tiny room to do all of them.
That's awesome. A proper, real Renaissance man. I love it.
Thank you.
Now, how would you describe your role in the server? I haven't seen you around a ton. We haven't interacted much.
I think we have interacted because of a certain MMORPG that is entirely playable in your Discord browser and related topics. I've seen you in RFCK adjacent servers a bunch, and it's just like coming from that RFCK people is like, I remembered that Trixie existed after Ben Saint started being an absolute moron more than before. It's like an obvious
for the uninformed, we're talking
flagrant.
about Rowdy Fuckers Cop Killers, which was like a role-playing nightmare created by Munchie and Ben Saint that for some reason took over a small section of the PCP audience entirely, and I have weirdly been connected to it for a long time, despite not ever having played it or listened to the PCP that much.
I think we were in the UFD, if that acronym rings any bells.
I see.
But I've been...
That makes sense. Okay.
Also, Stage UV.
So how long have you been in Butterflies, then?
I joined the Butterflies when I was in the kick because I got unceremoniously asked to leave a bunch of RFCK-related servers, and I've been wandering the internet. And at this time I joined the Golden Butterflies, I was just joining different servers, including a server that becomes very important for Fizzy lore, a certain VR adulting server, enterprise resource planning, regular things for regular people.
Right on.
And then I was just like, well, I could always lurk more. And then I became a serial lurker because I don't know the vibes, but I can always look at them. And it's like, yes, I'm participating. Does not
Would you say you know the vibes now?
Medium.
Medium vibes?
I medium know the vibes. We are the same level of degenerate, but talk about it in different ways. Friendly degenerate, to be distinct.
It makes sense. That makes sense.
Of course.
All right. Well, what would you say are your goals as a creative person?
Okay. Goals as an artist. Because I do, again, as I do a bit of everything, I do moonlight as an anime woman.
Yes.
On a certain new application that is blue. And it's a lot, and one day I will become an idol and release a full R&B album that is produced by someone that is not myself.
Is that not one of your hats? Is producing not one of your hats?
Yes, that is one of my many hats, and has become a very heavy marshmallow-shaped beret on my head.
I love it. That's fantastic. And would you say what would you say your goals are as a person?
Make a VR chat club for the friendly degenerate that wants to be a pool toy and or a plushie.
That's awesome. That's a great idea. All right. Before we move on, any group questions for Fizz?
Yes. So as an artist, what is your favorite flavor of cheese?
Fuck my fucking life.
The handfuls of Mexican, like the Mexican cheese shredded mix.
Yeah, that's okay. That kicks ass. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
You can put it on anything.
I do that.
And slightly melted.
I'd shovel that shit into my mouth directly when I was a kid. I'd be like,
It's
Mom, I
usually
want
like-
a bag of shredded cheese. And
What's even in there? What do they consider Mexican? I assume it's
I think
like
it's
cheddar
a combination
and
of a cheddar
jack of some kind.
I think it's a little Mustaval. A little like it's like a mellower white cheese.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely delicious and can go on anything and everything. And should.
Including your hand.
Yes.
Including your hand straight into your mouth, which is the way to do it.
I personally do the bag, and then you know how you to not share mouth germs with your friends, like waterfall. I waterfall the cheese into my mouth.
That's great. You've painted a beautiful picture for me of this situation.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Any other questions?
Looks like we got a question from Yakuman in the text chat.
All right, let's hear it, Yaku.
Kingdom Shots.
Was that?
That's all it says.
Indeed.
Question for the group. Kingdom Shots.
All right. Let's ignore Yakuman. Any other questions for Fizz before we move on?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Existing as a being outside of one's flesh self. Like the forms of which we take and the forms of which we are all taking are essential parts of your being and are even more real than the fleshy meat gross ick than that everyone seems to value oh so very much. And
Okay.
existing in multiple
I've also got a
yes.
I've got a question. What's the philosophical implication of your weirdest kink?
The philosophical weirdest kink. Okay, do we go with weirdest kink? Weirdest kink
Hey,
people
you have
don't
to define this now.
weirdest kink people don't understand it when I say it to them, or literally confuses people when I walk into a room.
Well, everyone understands what pool toys are.
No. I am a staff member in a very prevalent VR chat sex server, and I have come to the function as a pool toy. It's like, are you a pool toy? And it's like, no one understands the joys of a strategically placed hole and going on water-based adventures with your friends.
Goddamn. Why does this always happen to this podcast?
You know, I actually, I do have to get going. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave a little early. I'll send my audio to Sarah, but before I go, I do want to answer Yakuman's question real quick, because I do have an answer.
You do have an answer for Kingdom Sharts?
Yes.
Okay, please.
I know in my heart of farts, Kingdom Hearts is sharts!
Woo! Ooh. Fucking say it.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Crow. God, Jesus Christ. All right, I think that's enough. I think that's enough dragon time. Let's talk to Eventually. Eventually, how are you?
I am doing well.
We got everything working for you?
I'm so happy we fixed all of our troubleshooting issues before the podcast, because I was a little stressed.
I was a little stressed, but we got it, and Twice helped a lot, and everything seems to be going great. So tell me, where were you on 9/11?
I was in the womb. I was not born yet.
But you were conceived.
I looked this up just for you. I was about 4 weeks developed, or excuse me, yes.
Wow.
Or no, not 4 weeks, excuse me. 4 months. I know my
4 months, okay.
Units.
That's fantastic. I mean, we don't need to get into exactly when we define life after conception, but I would say you were definitely alive for 9/11. Were you near? Were you nearby, or were you far?
I was far. I am on the West Coast, so
okay,
I could only hear reverberations.
Yes. I told my 9/11 story in the last episode, but I was in school, and I got taken out of school, and then I got in a lot of trouble for making a very off-color joke at like 5 years old. So that's very...
That is amazing.
That was where I was at. So you mentioned during our troubleshooting that you do stand-up. What is your creative work? I thought you were a musician.
Oh, I do a lot. My main thing I do is anime convention panels, which,
wow, okay.
Yes, is a lot like stand-up comedy, because we script things out.
Because you stand up.
We stand up. We don't always stand up. We sometimes sit down.
That's true.
And we have our PowerPoint presentation to give us visual aid. And sorry, I'm a little nervous for podcasting.
It's okay.
I don't do as much podcasting as I do other things. For the conventions, the art is a lot in our visual aid. We work in PowerPoint to have visual gags and things like that. We practice. What I love about the art of convention panels is that when you're physically in a convention watching the panel, the rapport between the members of the panel is something that can't really be replicated online. And it's hard to describe, but I was a fan of convention panels before I became one myself. And I will tell that story on our Convention Stories podcast.
Ooh, plug. Watch the podcast. If you want to hear convention stories, wait for that episode to drop in 7 years.
Exactly. But to get into some of the other things I do,
Yes.
I very recently started dabbling into writing songs. I have not published
Ooh.
anything. I have not recorded anything, but I have
Now
been
you're
writing
speaking my
lyrics.
language. That's
Yes.
awesome. I love it. I'll have to pick your brain about that later when we're off pod. That's awesome.
Yes, I would love to talk to you about it because I love your
do?
work, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Do you compose music or are you just writing lyrics at this stage?
I am just writing lyrics. I have a teensy bit of music background because I played piano when I was a child, against my will, and
Yeah. As many of us
as
do.
happens.
Yeah.
I also do audiobooks. That's one of the first things I got into because I love fan fiction.
Yes.
I have been an avid reader of fan fiction ever since I was right before 12 years old. But I made my fanfiction.net account when I turned 12 because I wanted to
Shout out
follow.
fanfiction.net.
I wanted to follow their rules.
Oh my god, you respected the rules. That's so funny. That's so cute. I love that.
So I record audiobooks of fan fiction that I read.
You post them on YouTube?
I do not post on YouTube. I post on Archive of Our Own.
They have audio on Archive?
Yes.
That's so cool. I don't read a lot of fan fiction, but that is so cool that they have audio. That's a great accessibility feature.
Oh, it's one of my favorite things because, I'm recording these audiobooks a lot for myself because I want to be able to re-listen to the story on the go.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's noble work. That really is. That's very inspiring. All right.
Thank you.
What would you describe as your role in the server?
I would say I'm a background character who sometimes on random days will make myself prominent.
I definitely
don't
have
know.
seen you around. We've definitely spoken before. I recognized your name. I like your name. I think that's maybe why I thought that you were like a music artist, is because that's a great like music artist name.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I will say there was one time when Trixie was reading something of that I had said on one of the streams, and she said, eventually mentioned something, and it had such a nice rhythm to it when that bar specifically. And it really it inspired me, in some ways to start my music career at some point. TBD.
That's awesome. Where did the name eventually come from?
So I used to go by Evie. It was Evie778 when I made my Chitango account.
What? Your what? Hold on. What is?
I was on Chitango.
Yeah, does anyone else even know Chitango?
Is that like an amino thing? Like one of
No,
those like weird?
No, it's a chat room thing. Like, you can make your own chat room on Chitango.
Okay,
Or
that's
you
awesome.
could. I don't know if it's around anymore.
I used
That's fantastic.
Chitango on a website where I watched Pokemon episodes, not legally. And it was a good time. But at some point I realized, oh, I don't want to just have my name be Evie778. Like that's boring. I need to have something different. I need to be special in some way. And so when I
Yeah.
joined Discord, I first changed my name. I don't know why I did this. I changed it to Eve778, because I was like, well, I'm too cool for Pokemon now. I can't be tied to Pokemon.
Right.
That was a mistake, because now I have this biblical connection, and
Right.
Christianity is not my favorite fandom.
Right.
So it was a big mess, and I decided, well, what if me as a chronic procrastinator named myself eventually? Because I can say, oh, I'll eventually do that thing. Eventually,
I love it.
I'll be there.
There's something yearning about it, eventually. Like, I can really imagine it like as like some sort of like Midwest emo type solo bedroom artist. Like, I love that.
That could be me. Who knows? I do not live in the
Maybe
Midwest, but someday.
Yeah, it's a style. You don't need to you don't need to be from there to do it. Krona's not here. She can't school me on that. All right. So how did you get here?
I think I joined around the same time as Rhoda, when
Okay, so early.
yes, when the We Watch Anime podcast changed from a only seasonal show to, hey, we're going to watch classic anime alongside seasonal anime.
Yeah.
I had
That's
been
awesome.
Yes, I had been in a lot of Trixie adjacent servers. I believe. Goodness me, it feels ridiculous to bring this up, but back when May and Michelle had their show,
Oh.
I went on their show. I know. We don't talk about those people. Well, Michelle is okay, but we don't talk about May.
I just haven't heard that in a while. I haven't heard about May in a while.
Yup, she's not. She's gone off the deep end. I don't.
She might have started like halfway off the deep end, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
she was always off the deep end. That's true, but young me did not realize, because I guess I'm going all over the place with telling my story here.
that's okay. That's what we're doing.
But I became a fan of Trixie when I saw her video posted, back when she went by Digibro, on the My Anime List forums.
That's awesome.
People on Mal did not like her. And they would constantly post her videos and be like, oh, look at what this dummy is saying. It was so funny. But the video I watched first was Anime Shit Now, which was a
I remember
After
when
Dark
she posted that.
vlog.
I remember I was a huge fan of the After Dark stuff. That was my jam. It was all the psycho screaming in the bedroom sort of stuff.
Yes, so I watched that video, and it was just like, whoa, the way that Trixie was just completely like off the walls screaming into the microphone about how anime was always, or like, anime was always shit technically, or anime was always good, it was always shit at the same time, and it still is today. It was fun, but I was very young at the time. I was 14.
Oh my god.
So I'm a baby.
You're a baby.
Yes.
That's really fun.
But I've been a fan of Trixie like around this whole time, I would say. I did drop off a teensy bit during Void Gazers.
Yeah.
And I do go through phases where sometimes I just won't, like, I do this with all creators I follow. Sometimes I will just drift off, not watch their videos, not read their chapters.
Yeah.
And then come back.
And then you come back and you watch it all at once, and then you have a big long marathon. Or you just skip all of it. I do that too sometimes.
I definitely do a good share of both.
Yeah. All right. Well, what would you say are your goals going forward as a creative?
Well, I want to be the greatest anime convention panelist I can be as my number one goal.
That's such a
I
great. I really value anyone who is a creative and does stuff who is doing stuff in the live world. Because it's a whole different world than playing around on the internet like we do. Um, it is a big thing, and even just doing something like anime panels is like it's spectacular, frankly.
Thank you. Yes, I love doing stuff in the live world because I was a theater kid. I'm a
Yeah.
performer at heart, and having a live audience energizes me, which is part of why I started doing stand up was because this was a way to get myself in front of an audience and perform.
Now, tell me about stand up a little bit. What does your routine kind of entail? What do you do?
So I do 5 minute sets. And
Yeah.
I say this as if I currently do it. I haven't done a stand up set in over a year,
Okay.
but I can still
That's
say
still
I
pretty
do it.
recently. You could I think that's like I think 5 years is the mark where you're like you probably are done doing it. Like if you haven't in that amount of time.
Yes,
There's always time to dust off the old mic and jump back on stage.
that is completely true. Yeah, the times I've done stand up though, I work on it either like the week leading up or, I'm developing my content for a
Yeah.
while, practice out loud, practice by writing it down, the day of, like just rehearsing it to myself. And I feel like I go into it pretty prepared. I don't know
I
if
feel
all
that.
stand-up comedians do that.
I've not done much stand up, but I've done shows. I've played shows, and I do talk and make jokes between songs often. And I'm an absolute nervous wreck the week leading up. I'm just so I'm so stressed out, and then I always do fine. But I'm always so like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna mess it all up, and I make sure I have everything memorized. And with songs, it can be really nerve wracking because if you forget a chord or a lyric, you can really get yourself in some shit. But it's not usually that bad when you mess up and you have to stop and be like, wait a minute, hold on, let me think. Usually, you can spin that into funny. So that's really cool,
Yes.
though. I've always thought about doing stand up, but every stand up bit I've ever come up with has been too esoteric and strange to read to a general audience. I feel like you have to really play the room. Um,
I mean, I feel like if you spent time just like rehearsing that bit
yeah,
and thinking about how you could play it for an audience, like, of course, depending on the audience, like I think it could work. And I would love to see your stand up, Sarah.
I'm sure it would be a nightmare. I'm in a good way. All right. Does anyone have any questions for our beloved eventually? Go ahead.
Oh, well, I why did I become a panelist or why did I start going to them? Well, I can't even take complete credit for that because it was my outgoing friend who who gave me the push, who was like, "Hey, let's try this." Oh wait, I guess now I'm spoiling my own story. We uh we took over a panel that nobody showed up for. That's how
Oh, that's
I got
awesome.
into paneling.
That's really awesome. I love that. That makes me very happy.
Yes.
All right. Yes, you carped that fucking DM.
Precisely.
All right. Any other questions? That's a great question. I've been wanting to know this too, actually.
Oh, there are exactly 5.
Exactly 5? No more, no
Yes.
less?
No more, no less. I had to kill them with each of my limbs, one with each of my hands, one with
And
each of
you're,
my feet, and then one with my head.
yeah. With you, did you bite? Did you bite down on it, or did you just like hit it with your head?
Oh, I headbutted that dove.
Okay, it wasn't as gruesome as I was picturing.
No, no, I wouldn't go that far.
No, you're sensible. You
Of
kill
course.
doves in a sensible manner. This is classy. All right. Oh, I suppose since Krona's not here, what's your favorite kind of cheese?
Well, my favorite kind of cheese is melted cheese of any kind.
Melted cheese of any kind. I see,
But
but
oh,
not
actually, sorry, I can't. I cannot stand American cheese. No,
the
not
one
American.
cheese that is designed to melt.
Yes.
You don't like melted or non-melted. That's fascinating, actually.
You
I
know,
think we need to study your brain on that one.
American cheese is my enemy, and
right.
I will kill any American cheese that gets in my path.
But not by eating it.
Not by eating it.
Yes.
My favorite actual type of cheese is brie. Brie is the
Ooh.
best.
Brie is delicious. I do love cheese. I do so love cheese. So I'm glad Krona started the trend of asking about cheese because I do love it.
If I may ask a follow-up cheese-related question.
Absolutely may.
Do you bake your brie? If so, with what jams and or other things?
Oh, I don't bake it nearly as much as I should. I'm a big microwave oven fan, so I typically use that. But when I do bake it, I am partial to fig jam.
Delicious. Thank you for asking my cheese-related follow-up question.
That's fantastic. All right. Any more questions for the lovely eventually? Oh, that's a great question. Who is the best Ninjago ninja?
Well, my favorite ninja is Lloyd Garmadon, the legendary Green Ninja. He has the most trauma. He has the most storylines. He has the best fan fiction. And I like the color green.
That's as good a reason of any. I've never actually seen Ninjago before, so
Ninjago is my favorite story I have ever consumed. It is better than
Really?
any anime, better than any book. It is special to me.
we're talking about the Lego thing, right? We're talking about the fucking Lego thing.
We're talking about jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin. This is
Yes!
the Lego Ninjago show that came out in 2010
Yes!
and is
Fucking
still
go
going.
off. Yes, I love that. I didn't know it was still going. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, so Lloyd is my favorite, but I do have a favorite of the new characters. If we have any Ninjago fans in our audience, what they are doing with Aaron's character, I adore, because it's they are successfully creating a character who doesn't have superpowers in a world where most of the heroes have powers, and developing that in a meaningful way.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic to hear. I am very glad that the Ninjago universe is happy and healthy.
I would love to share Ninjago with y'all sometime. We should do a group watch because
That sounds great.
it's so amazing.
Would you say it's like kind of the modern equivalent of like Bionicle in that it's like the Lego thing that people are like, no guys, it's really good. I promise.
Yes, I would say that. This is how you get the Bionicle fans to be interested in Ninjago. That's all you have to say. You have to say, well, okay, imagine Bionicle, but it's Lego ninjas instead.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. Are you a Lego fan, like in general?
Yes.
Or is it just this show that got you?
Newly so. Here's the thing. I love Ninjago, and I watched it when it came out in 2011. I said 2010 earlier, but it came out in 2011. I watched it then, but I rediscovered Ninjago in 2021, and it became a core part of my identity. And only then did I go and buy Legos with my own money so that I could have my favorite little little guys.
I mean, isn't that the coolest thing about any Lego tie-in show is that you can just go get it, you know, you can go buy it and it looks exactly like it does in the show because the toy is the show.
That is true. You can't get that with everything else. And I love being a fan of something that is popular because it means that it is ubiquitous. And like you said, I can go to any Lego store, or my friend can go to a Lego store and think of me and be like, I took this picture of the Ninjago section, and they send it to me, and I love it.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. All right, I think we need to move on, but thank you very much eventually. Oh, actually, do we have another question?
Oh, actually, I was just going to say, you mind if I do a little bit of ASMR before we move on?
Yes, absolutely. Please do an ASMR. Oh, that was good.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I was waiting to open up that drink. I didn't
you know
want
what?
to interrupt.
Well, if we're in the ASMR section of the pod, let me just open this bag of Doritos here.
Does that mean that I can move from quietly eating my Cheez-Its to eating my Cheez-Its in an aesthetically pleasing manner?
Just for the ASMR section.
Okay. Understood.
Delicious.
Let me add my contribution. That's my contribution.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Abby time now. Abby,
Yo, what up?
where were you on 9/11?
I was about to be born. I was born less than a month after 9/11.
Okay, so you're off the hook.
Yeah. Well, no. It was like a mind control thing.
Well, you couldn't have been behind it if you were only just
Uh-oh.
you weren't born yet, you know. But if you had been, if you had been
Goddamn.
born a second after the planes hit, you could have, you could have done it. Hello? Did we lose?
I just
everyone?
realized. I just
Abby?
realized I was muted for a little bit.
Oh my god.
I'm still here.
But I don't think Abby has a creative work. Hello. Hey, Abby. Yeah, the
my
internet.
God.
Of course, literally as soon as it's my turn, the internet goes out.
Aw.
Okay, I'm back now.
Okay, let's start that segment again from the beginning. Abby, where were you on 9/11?
I was in my mother's womb, about to be born. I was born less than a month after 9/11.
Okay. All right, and they said to me that you are in a similar situation to Twice, where you don't necessarily have quote creative work in that sense. What do you do?
I really love video games. It's like most of my life. I also like fan fiction and like reading and stuff, but video games are like one of my favorite things in the world. I play like all kinds of games. I really like weird games. My library is not quite as impressive as Twice's, but I imagine that's more due to me not having had like a job for as long
That makes sense.
to make money to get games. But I do have like a 500-ish games. Twice has like 1,000.
That's pretty cool. I only have like 20 games, and I have 2 installed probably.
I'm just a huge fan of video games. I play all kinds of games. I really like I like playing a lot of weird games. I like gamey games. I don't as much like it when games are just a storytelling vehicle. I really like when games have game to them.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it sounds like kind of a like weird thing to say, like redundant almost.
I get it, because there's a lot of games where like the visual or the narrative elements are more of what the point is, but you like it when the systems are very well defined and and interesting. But are unusual,
And I will say, like, there are some primarily story-based games that I still enjoy. Like, there's What Remains of Edith Finch. I feel like, I don't know if any of you have heard of that game, but that's like that's primarily a story-based game, but it does have some parts where the gameplay helps tell the story in interesting ways.
That's really cool. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've spent so much of my life just thinking about games, and like, I'm one of those like people who likes to come up with ideas for stuff, but like, I don't really have any illusions about many of my ideas coming to life. It's just like fun for me to think about.
Absolutely. No, I totally understand. Now, what would you describe as your role in the server, in this group?
I mean, I'm pretty new. I just joined like a month or two ago, but
you're probably the youngest member here, not in terms of age, but in terms of how long you've been a part of this collective.
Most likely.
Now you live with Twice and Z-Cypher, right?
Yes, I'm in the polycule.
Yes, you're in the fray with the other two.
The Twicycle, as they call it.
Is that really what they call it?
No.
Okay, cool. I was about to
Well, I mean,
have
maybe. I've never heard of this.
I was about to have some choice words off pod about that.
So yeah, I live with them. I just I met them and shared some interests. We all like gaming. I always knew that anyone I became in a relationship with would need to also be at least somewhat into games for me to really drive with them.
That makes sense. It's like I would struggle to be in a relationship with someone who didn't care about music at all. So, and they invited you here? Like, did you know about this community previously, or was it just kind of like hey, come join, these are my friends,
What's interesting, I kept hearing about it as for some reason they kept referring to it as former celebrity Discord. I didn't really know what the heck was up with that. I was like, I don't know, could I ever join this? That's what I was thinking in my mind. I was not sure if it was an exclusive server or something, and eventually I finally got invited. I don't know, it's an interesting server.
Absolutely.
It's I'm not super active in a lot of servers, but
you're fairly active here. I feel like I see you around quite a bit, which is nice.
I mainly pop up when the topic is about gaming or fetish stuff.
I mean, isn't that what we all secretly come to this server for?
Maybe, I don't know.
Honestly, not me at all, but I I appreciate just how accepting everyone is here of each other.
I like that it's open here to talk about that stuff, because I have trouble filtering myself, so it's either I'm not talking at all, or I'm talking with minimal filter.
Now, were you aware of Trixie's content at all prior to this?
Not a single bit.
That's interesting to me, because there's very few people, I think, in this collective who aren't somewhat in the shadow of Trixie the Golden Witch, and that's cool. Have you watched some of it since it started? Have you tuned into any of the live streams or anything, or
I have
you
not
just kind of been
tuned
chilling?
Any live streams, but Twice has showed me a video or two from Trixie. I think it's interesting, thoughtful content. It's not something I usually go out of my way to watch.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watch demolition derby footage on YouTube. I'm very just I want to see just like shit that people are doing. Like, and I like Trixie's words, but I'm hella behind on watching her stuff.
I think the stuff I tend to watch is like either gaming analysis stuff or like philosophy. I do like, so that does line up with Trixie to some degree. Or I also like a lot of math stuff, or like even like economy stuff I find pretty interesting just from a theoretical perspective.
That's pretty cool.
I don't love engaging with politics like actively. I just find it really interesting.
You like the political systems, not so much the controversy and the salacious elements.
Yeah, like I like the theory behind it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like actually arguing for what's best, I don't know, it can get stressful.
It can get absolutely stressful. It's very valuable, I think, to have a love for the actual mechanics of policy, in addition to wanting, better for each other and for the world. Now, you said, you wouldn't. I believe you wouldn't describe yourself as necessarily a creative. So, what are your goals just as a person?
I will say, like, I think I am a very creative person. It's just I'm one of those types that has a lot of trouble actually getting it into anything. Like, it just happens in my head.
That makes sense.
I come up with like a lot of cool stuff, I think, in my head. But then, like,
do you write it down at all, just like notes?
Not really. Like, I go through it in my head. It's like super interesting for me. But then the fire kind of burns out, and I'm like, well, okay, this is already boring to me because I've already thought about it.
Right.
So
that makes sense. I mean, you are creative in the sense that you have creative ideas, but you're not necessarily driven to make those a reality.
Yeah. So I actually was a tattoo artist for a little while.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
At a tattoo shop for like 4 years on and off. For the last year, I did work there like full time, more than full time. It was like 50 hours a week. But I don't know. It's just drawing is not for me. Doing the actual tattooing was not. I didn't mind that. Tattooing is a lot
you're
like
just coloring the lines in.
Well, it's like extremely difficult tracing is what I would say tattooing is.
Exactly. Well, because you have to get the right needle depth, and like it takes a lot of practice and a lot of skill. A very steady hand. It's not for the weak of heart. That takes a lot of skill to be able to do well. So that's pretty cool that you have that background.
And I wouldn't mind doing just the tattooing part, but the issue is you also need to be able to draw.
Right. You need to be an artist.
That not so much is not so much what I was into.
I agree on that, in that I do draw for the necessity of needing to make stuff and make art for like my various music projects, but I don't love drawing. In fact, I would describe my style as very outwardly antagonistic towards the concept of drawing.
It sucks because I think drawing is really cool. Like, I love being able to turn stuff. Like, turn your thoughts into like an actual thing.
I have immense respect for people who can draw.
But then, like, the actual process of drawing is like it's agonizing to me, honestly. It's just so difficult.
Yeah,
but
I feel that.
Like, I don't want to have that relationship with it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you find fulfillment in yourself and others, there's nothing wrong with just being someone who wants to play some games and talk some politics and talk some philosophy. I love philosophy. I took philosophy classes in high school whenever I could, and it's fun. It is like, because it is very much like one of the social sciences that is hardest for people to get their head around sometimes, because it's a lot of asking really big questions with no answers, and that's the fun.
All right. Someone asked in the chat about a tattoo, and I'm trying to find a picture of it, but it's difficult to find. The favorite one that I have on me is like I mean, it depends. It changes around based on like what my newest tattoo is, honestly.
Right.
But I have one that's a centipede. I can try to get in the chat if you wanted to include a picture.
Okay. I will absolutely try to include a picture of it.
One moment.
Let me just check my phone. I will cut this part out. Note to self, cut this part out.
Come on. Okay, here we go. And copy. It's this. Whoops. And. Oh my gosh. Okay, whatever. Yeah, that's the tattoo. It's the centipede.
Oh, nice.
Wow, holy shit. That's amazing.
That is awesome.
I think there's also. This is another one that I really like. And then my favorite one that I've done, it's that one I'm not going to be able to get a picture of in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like
Those
a
are
big
both
skull
so
with
cool.
a ton of knives. It was definitely biting off way more than I could chew in terms of like what I could reasonably tattoo. But
That's awesome.
It still looks fairly nice, even though there's a lot of flaws in it.
That's so cool. I've been fiending for a tattoo for a while now, and I haven't bit the bullet on it yet. But I'm gonna.
Actually, I can get a picture of that for you afterwards if you wanted to pull that up.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I'll do that after.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Abby before we move on?
Cheese.
Yeah.
Favorite type of cheese?
Oh, right,
yes.
cheese.
It's kind of boring. I like provolone. It's like
Provolone's good.
Maybe the next best or the next most boring, other than like cheddar and American.
Yeah, but cheddar is bad. Is the thing.
I actually like good cheddar. I think cheddar might
like
be
good
my
cheddar
second
too, but
if it's good cheddar.
I don't have any real like cheese I don't like, but cheddar is so something. You know, it's not like
It's just boring.
it's not very exciting. It's very boring. It has a very just generic cheese taste because all generic cheese taste is based off of cheddar.
When it comes to food, I think my tastes are quite boring.
Yeah. Provolone is delicious though. I love it on an Italian sub, you know? Good stuff. Alrighty. Any other questions?
Yeah. Abby, if you could force everyone in this call at gunpoint to play one game, what game would you force them to play?
That is a really hard question. I have some games that I really love, but the issue is that a lot of them are like almost like hostile towards the player. And I really love like fighting against the games when they're hostile like that, but a lot of people don't like that. And a lot of the games that I love the most are going to be the games that bounce the most people off of.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's a perfect game to force someone to play at gunpoint.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're already forcing them against their will, so
that's true.
It's probably going to be like Ultra Kill, honestly. Ultra Kill might be one of my favorite games of all time. And it is like... I think it's actually one of the less offensive games in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, like, it tries to help the player for the most part. But it's just such a deep game. I played through the game once. I liked it. It was okay. And then when I went back to replay the game on a harder difficulty, that's like when my love for the game really blossomed. I think it's a game that you can enjoy on one playthrough, or you can play for way more than one playthrough and continue to love.
That's fantastic. That's the game you guys were playing last night, right?
Is it?
Was it?
Oh,
what were you playing last night?
That was Deadlock. Deadlock is also a great
similar
game,
name. Okay.
Deadlock is in the realm of like League of Legends of being like bad for mental health.
That's awesome.
I like it.
That's really fun. All right. Any other questions for Abby?
I saw there was a question from Momocon about how deep you think about video games as a medium.
Mm-hmm.
I think about them pretty deeply. I don't think there's much I can say like right here and now that would be too insightful, because a lot of it is just for myself in my head. It's not I think I could like make videos talking about it, but I have a lot of trouble doing that because it stops being as fun for me.
I feel you. I feel you on that. All right. Anything else?
I
Any
have a
other business?
question. I have a question.
Sure
for
thing.
Abby.
Go for
Okay,
it.
what is, I'm going to do the inverse. What is the worst tattoo that someone has asked you to give?
I don't think
That's
there's
an
one
amazing
that's
question.
been horribly offensive. I think a consistently bad one that people ask for a lot is anything involving like perfect circles, because those are extremely difficult to do.
Yes.
I have been asked to do several things like that, or things with like very thin lines that are small tattoos. The centipede that I got, that is a really difficult tattoo to do. If I tried to do something like that, it would not look nearly as good. Because it is a lot of fine lines and a lot of like intricate design. I do try to tell people not to ask me for things like that, or at least I did when I was doing tattoos.
Right.
People continued to ask for things like that,
Of course.
but I don't know. It's okay for people to ask. I just have to tell them, sorry, I can't do
Yeah.
that. Oh,
All right.
To Pure Clip asked how many Millennial Infinity tattoos have I done. I have not done any because I was not doing it for money. I was doing it on a lot of friends still to learn. I never got to the point where I was doing it on random people for
Right.
money.
Like on clients and stuff.
Yeah. Those
Alright.
the millennial tattoos that like everyone gets that are kind of like cliche. I don't really love them, but
No.
I think it's people's right to get them if they want them.
Of course.
I would advise people away from it. Oh,
Yeah.
if anyone is thinking about getting a tattoo, I would recommend stay away from just words.
Yes.
Have at least
Words-
some like visual element to it.
I've thought about like tattoos I want, and that's one of my motifs is basically no words.
I
Like-
plan to not have any words on my body if I can avoid it.
Yeah.
Almost treat it like vexology. Like, if you have words in it, you probably messed up somewhere.
Yeah. All
I
right.
think I'm fine
Any
with
other
wrapping
questions?
things up there, unless anyone has any last minute questions.
Are
I think that's
follow up? Are circles always bad, or is it just hard for you to do circles? The one
Circles-
tattoo. I have no tattoos. I'm thinking of getting a tattoo, and it'd be a circle if it's tattoo, so that I can reference that more conveniently.
So the thing about circles, they're not inherently bad. The main issue with them is how difficult it is to translate them onto the body, because the body is not flat.
right.
Especially the less flat the area is, like an elbow, for example, that would be a nightmare to tattoo a circle on. Which is unfortunate, because the elbow would be a nice place to put a circle, design-wise.
Right.
You just have to take into account how difficult it is. It can even like increase the price of a tattoo, because often some tattoo artists will base things on the difficulty. So
Yeah.
it can inflate the price, and if the artist isn't perfect, which nobody's perfect,
Exactly.
you might end up with a tattoo with like a little bit of wiggliness. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say like I wouldn't say you can't do circles as a rule. It's just keep in mind the difficulties of it.
Yeah.
It's like making one big straight line on your body. Do you make it straight as a projection from like 30 feet away, or do you make it a straight line as if you cut off all your skin?
Right.
Generally,
And also, like, how do
Generally-
you get a person to do a straight line?
generally tattoos are like supposed to be done like lined up to look right if you're standing at a rest. So like if you have your arms at your side and you're standing up, most tattoos will be lined up to look right in that position.
The tattoo pose.
That's not super important to know. I just think that's an interesting thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on here. Hatto, you are
Oh
next.
no. Oh no, it's me.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello. I'm Hato. Hato. I don't know. what do I say about me? I do things.
Yeah, what do you do?
Okay, I thought we were opening on 9/11. I don't know. This is a lot.
We can talk about 9/11 too.
Okay.
I've been switching where I put the 9/11, so
Okay,
it's not the
oh my
same every
gosh.
time.
Okay. What do I do? I guess like my main thing is that I do math.
Ooh.
Which is like the worst kind of art in some ways, but I think there's art to it in other ways.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll do math forever, but it's what I'm doing right now at least. I also
when you say you do math, are you studying?
I
like
do
in school,
yeah,
or are you just?
I guess I do math research. At like maybe I'll have a postdoc or something soon that I'll be doing. I'll be doing math.
That's very cool.
I used to write stuff when I was younger. I got into Trixie, known at the time as Digibro, and I can share more on that if we want to go through the full chronology.
Sure.
I go through the full chronology. Okay, full chronology. Okay, so
let's get right into it.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll bring it back around to what I do. This leads to it. So I was 12 years old and browsing through YouTube. I saw a recommendation for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, like season 2.
Yes.
Oh, I'm forgetting which episode it was. It was some episode in season 2. I want to say it was like the Christmas episode from season 2. I forget what it's called now. Heartwarming, maybe, I don't remember. Anyway, and I thought to myself, ooh, I can't let anybody know that I really want to watch this episode of Ponies because I'm a middle school boy and I can't do that. And so I very secretly watched my first episode of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and then I like binged the entire first 2 seasons that was out at the time. And then I was like ravenous for more pony content, and I saw that there's this YouTuber called Digibrony who was making some cool videos about My Little Pony. And then My Little Pony got worse because Lauren Faust left, and they turned Twilight Sparkle into a fucking alicorn and all. I think that could have been done all right. I actually really love that fucking episode. I like that episode too. I'm shit talking too much. But I at some point I fell off in like seasons 4 or 5 of watching My Little Pony, and by that time, Digibrony had evolved into Digibro, the like second evolution, and started making anime videos. And I didn't think I had seen any anime before. Little did I know that that Pokemon was an anime. But but aside from that, I hadn't seen any anime before, and I saw her recommendation for Serial Experiments Lane. So that was like my first like real anime TM, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that animated media could have depth besides My Little Pony having depth. So I got into anime. I had my middle school anime phase at the end of middle school, going into high school.
Oh, you actually did.
Yeah,
I
actually
did
did
it
it.
in
Good
middle
time
school.
to
That's
have
smart.
your middle school anime phase.
And then one summer, there was a recommendation video that at the time Digibro had done for a bunch of different shows, including Wandering Sun, Horo Musco, and I watched it. It's like, holy shit, I have never related to a piece of media so much in my life. For reference, this is a like very melodramatic anime / also manga that I immediately binged about like experiencing gender dysphoria, and I was like, wowee, that sure is me. And I had a lot of thoughts and feelings that I needed to sort out.
A lot of big thoughts there.
I think I wrote like 10,000 words in my journal in a 1 week time period. thinking about this shit.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was really going through it. And then time happened. I got involved into the Procrastinators podcast and Discord server.
Oh, yes.
Fandom. I think the song, the Digibro and Endless Jest song "Get Action" really stuck with me a lot, and I was like, shit, I need to make art. I'm gonna, you know what, I've always really liked creative writing. I've always journaled a lot. Maybe I can make writing be my thing. And so I tried to get really into writing for a couple years. I did NaNoWriMo for a year, but I didn't.
Oh my god!
I didn't. It wasn't.
I haven't thought about NaNoWriMo in so long.
It wasn't 50,000 words. It was 38,000 words, and it took me like two months to do. But
that's crazy, though.
Yeah, I'm still really proud of it. It's probably like the best thing I've written in terms of like being able to actually like output creative work.
What was it called?
It was called at the time Witch Hunters. I still don't have like a name for it that I like. Maybe I'll redraft it and whatever. It was shit. I was 16 years old. I don't think it's like a good work of writing.
It was an old NaNoWriMo project, but that's still really cool. It
was about a fucking guy who's in love with a girl in medieval Europe, and then the girl gets witch hunted, and he saves her and takes her to this island of witch hunters. Actually, no. He is supposed to hunt her down. Oh, no, I shouldn't just regale the whole story. He's supposed to hunt her down, but he's like, I can't do that. I'm in love with her. And then she's like, well, fuck you anyway. I can save myself. That's what actually happens.
That's dope.
And then they go to this island of witches who have been ostracized from society and learn how to do actual magic, and then they defeat the witch hunters, and that's the story. Anyway, that's the very brief telling of it. I was like listening to Get Action on repeat for like a 2-month period during this time because I was like, so like I need to write to like prove myself as some kind of creative. And then I was really involved in the PCP fan Discord server. I think I was the number one messenger on it for like a 1.5 year long period under a different name. If you remember me, then you probably recognize my voice. I don't want to get into fuck the past.
Oh.
Ugh, man.
Mysterious.
Yeah,
okay.
Ugh. You know, Digibro's dead. Whoever I was dead back then is dead too. That's how I feel. Anyway.
Yeah.
A couple years later, I realized that I'm like fucking a baby, and also from a like fairly sheltered upbringing in a lot of ways. I don't have like shit to write about. I can't like talk about the real world in that way.
Right.
So I kind of decided to put down writing for a while, and I also wanted to make money, and doing math seemed like a good way to make money and also use some of my creative things. So that's what I started doing. And I like making music. I like writing a little bit occasionally. And I hate work, but I also want to make money.
Don't we all?
I
What kind of music do you make?
I guess the other creative thing that I really like, that I should respect as a creative thing, I really like dancing. I love going to EDM related events, and just I used to dance tango when I was in high school, like Argentine tango.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like I was in like a salsa club. But I was in like the Midwest, so there was like 2 Mexican people in the entire salsa club of like a couple dozen people or something like that. Fun times. It was, I think that we were doing our best to appreciate different styles of dance, and it was fun. I love dancing. The 2 songs that I made, I was like, okay, I want to make music that I would want to dance to. It's kind of like EDM-ish. I don't think that they're good songs, but they exist. I'd like to make more music. I don't know. I feel like the math brain experience could be good for like understanding music. It's all ratios, buddy.
It's all patterns and
Yeah.
ratios.
Um,
Well, that's really cool.
let's see.
How did you?
Yeah.
How did you end up in Golden Butterflies specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of fell off of the Digibro era content around around the time she started getting more involved with her girlfriend, ex-wife now, who I also feel a little bit of guilt about, because I was one of her ex-wife joined the PCP fan server and was like, man, I'm so horny for like one of the PCP members. It'd be so cool to talk to Digibro. And me and a couple other people were like egging her on, being like, yeah, you totally should. You're like,
oh
hot.
my god, you.
So I feel like I caused this.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Well, I mean, I didn't introduce her to weed, but it was at my house that we really, really smoked a lot of weed. So I think between you and me, I think we possibly ruined Trixie's life for a long time.
Well, now looking at it now, I think that she's emerged better for it.
I think so.
The chrysalis has split open, and she became a golden butterfly herself. I didn't start. I feel like I'm like new to the golden butterflies community. I think I'm the most recent joiner of people.
Yeah, I think so.
in
I
this
was
call.
researching everyone last night, and I was like surprised with how few messages you had.
Yeah.
How did you? Yeah. How did you get to the server?
I think I've like checked back on Trixie's content every like year or two since 2018ish, and then like at some point she started making videos like I think last year or maybe a year before or so that like started really reminding me of the old Digibro After Dark stuff that I loved. And I was like,
yes.
this is what I stayed here for. This is what got me into like PCP fandom in the first place. This is what I love and care about. And so I was like, let me see if I hear her talking about this Discord server. I don't see an invite link anywhere on the internet. Let me like just subscribe to her Patreon, and I found like an old link that I think has since been deleted from her Patreon to join the server. And I
That's
snuck
amazing.
my way in. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it though. When did you say you joined? Like about a year ago?
Much less than that. I think I joined like last September, maybe August or so.
That's awesome. That's crazy. So you were in the server like already after the vibe shift.
Yes, I did not experience pre-vibe shift. It felt like people were still reeling from the vibe shift having occurred, but I was not witness to it. I've only heard about it secondhand from other sources.
Yes. So, just to continue, what would you say are your goals as a creative and as a person? I'm going to combine those.
Oh man. Well, I want to make money.
Yep.
I want to make art. I want to do lots of drugs.
Yes.
I want to make art while doing lots of drugs.
And money.
And money. I want to have money so that I can do more drugs and have time to make more art. I think it'd be really sick if I could do more music stuff, and like I don't know, I started learning piano about like 6 to 9 months ago because I wanted to understand like foundations of music stuff to like know how to compose better. I want to learn how to DJ really, really well. That'd be really sick.
Ooh,
I got into that because I went to a club like maybe about a year ago, and the DJs there were like really shitty, and I was like, I feel like I could DJ better than this. And so I just like my partner and I came home, and I just loaded up a like virtual DJ and just like started mixing some tracks in, and my partner was like, Oh my god, you are so much better at this.
You are better?
than the fucking DJs
That's
that we're just
awesome.
listening to. I don't think I'm good at it by any means. And I also like
I
can't
love it.
afford I haven't figured out how to pirate.
You don't have, like...
And I haven't had the like
Oh.
free change to just drop the few $100 I need to get like a full DJ setup going, but I think that'd be really
You're
sick.
right.
Yo, I'd love to help
That's-
you pirate sometime.
If someone has a link, I would love to pirate it. I just haven't found a link that I trusted to not have viruses. I don't know. Maybe I'm a stupid baby about piracy.
Hypothetically, in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah, of course.
Yeah, in Minecraft, yes.
I want to make music that I want to dance to. As Charlie XCX said, I want to dance to me. When I go to the club.
I love that.
I want to, and when I'm older and wiser and have more life experience, I want to make writing about how people are and how the world is. I don't know.
That sounds awesome. I mean, those are all great goals. I've played a little I've done a little DJing. It's hard.
It is.
It's a tough thing. I have someone gifted me once a really expensive and fancy DJ controller that I've used like twice because it's so it's so much.
I love using twice.
Yeah. Lots of people do.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I
People
love
like
using
using
twice.
Mm,
And I said, yeah, lots of people do. It's fun.
I see. All right. Does anyone have any questions for Hato before we go?
Yes.
Before we move on?
Yes. I have
Okay.
a question for Hato. Hato, as a math person, explain to me why I cannot
God.
divide by 0.
Okay,
Even I know this, and I'm an idiot.
you can divide by 0. So there's a nice number file video about dividing by 0 and like the more algebra side of dividing by 0, and kind of the answer is just like it's not as mathematically interesting as you might expect to be able to, but that's only like half the answer. The other thing, I think that a lot of what like calculus is about is the like art of how to divide by 0 in the right way.
For reals?
Yeah, because it's like a limit is basically saying like, okay, what if if I take the limit of something divided by something else, I'm kind of like, as like the thing on bottom goes to 0, I'm kind of like asking, how do I divide by 0 in like a sensible way? And that's what calculus is about.
Okay, because like, you know, I asked that question to a math teacher once in high school, and she was like, how can you divide something by nothing? And it's like, well, then that means you keep all the things, and then the answer is just whatever you started with. Wait, what?
No, that's if you divide by 1.
Yeah. I don't know. Then maybe dividing by 0 is just tossing all your stuff that you were dividing up into the ocean.
Yeah, I don't know.
The question is, you have 3 marbles. Divide those marbles in between 0 piles. How many marbles are in each pile?
I think I've heard
So the answer is 0.
No, because there aren't
issue-
piles.
I think I've heard that the issue with it is that the answer you get is like both positive infinity and like negative infinity. Which
It's
doesn't make any
infinitely
sense.
small and infinitely large and infinitely like in both directions. So it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, this is one of those things where like math is like philosophy in a lot of ways.
I
It
completely
can,
agree.
it can actually make sense if you very slightly change the rules of math. I really like how many things can be interesting if you change the rules a little bit.
Yeah, and I do want
exactly.
to point out, and like fuck colonialism, whatever. The math that we use today is large, or that like most people study today, and that is taught today, is based on classical logic, as it is so called. This is just
Yeah.
like one logical axiom, like set of axioms that one can use. There's like logicians who I feel very bad for, who study lots of different forms of logic, but also there's a lot of like history behind different cultures using different forms of logic. Like the classical logic is like every statement is either true or false, but some other cultures have had like logical axiomatizations that have had like states of neither true nor false, or things that are both true and false. And that's cool too, I think.
All right. Well, fantastic. We have one more guest today. She joined in the middle of the call and asked a few great questions. Here is MomoCon. Say hi, Momo.
Hello, guys.
Nice to finally have you. I'm glad you made it. Sorry this has taken so long, but this is the third episode, and God damn it, we're getting everyone. So let's start with where we always start, except when we don't. Where were you on 9/11?
Well, I was 4 years old, and I think I was playing on the Nintendo GameCube.
That's awesome. That's where you want to be when war begins.
You know, I actually didn't even know that even happened when I was 4.
When did you learn about when were you taught about 9/11?
I honestly don't know, and it's weird because I grew up in Islam, so I was in a Muslim community. I think I eventually heard about it from my family or some other fellow Muslim at the masjid.
That's interesting. All right. What would you say? Sorry, I'm been going for a little while, so I'm a little discombobulated. But what would you say is your creative work? What do you do?
Well, I've always been known as someone who draws, and I still do that. But I've always been flaky throughout my life because I never really knew what I wanted. I'm in, like mechakinetic and phys. Like I'm interested in everything, and I'm interested in everything because I see how it all connects. It's now big picture thinking. But growing up as a kid, like I didn't know that was even a thing or that it was even possible. So if I were to describe myself as a creative, I mean, I'd be like, I still love drawing, I am a recovering illustrator, but I want to be what is called a technoetic artist.
What is? Can you explain that?
Well, technoetics is a field that was pioneered by a man named Roy Ascott, and what it is that it's a field that it's a field at the intersection of art, technology, and consciousness research. So it's what you could describe as an intermedium. So there's multimedia and then there's intermedia. Multimedia is exactly what it's described as. It's a work of art that utilizes multiple mediums in its composition. But intermedia are the mediums between mediums.
I see.
So like a combination of poetry and video or music and dance. It's the mediums that you had to invent. And technoetics is an integration of, it's basically STEAM. It's an integration of science, technology, electronics, art, and mathematics.
That's awesome.
And so that's what I'm trying to be. That's why I call myself a recovering illustrator, because I do not have that skill set and I have to build it. And that's why I really can't talk about the things I'm doing, because I want to be able to show what I'm doing, not just talk about it.
I feel you. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. Now, I don't think I have encountered you. I've encountered you a little bit. You've talked about some culture and some philosophical stuff that I thought was pretty cool. But what would you say is your role in the server?
I feel like I'm just a lurker right now because like no one really knows what I do other than I just draw girls with big anime titties, but that's not really what I'm doing.
Well, I remember specifically you were talking about just religion and just the intersections between religion and colonialism and stuff. And so that in my head, I'm like, okay, this person is clearly very smart, and definitely with what you just explained to me, I definitely think that you are very, very smart. And I love that you're also down to draw some titties, and so I appreciate that very much.
I mean,
Um,
I don't really consider myself that smart, and I have to explain that because I believe that. I mean, I think it's the case for everyone, in that I like to use The Incredibles as an example, where it's said that
Mhm.
like if everyone is special, no one is. But the
Right.
paradox is that everyone is special. Like everyone has an inner genius. But again, when we're talking about religion, colonialism, public school, or even our political system, we live in a society that does not cultivate the genius that people have, or the
Yeah.
ability to be able to live the lives that we seek.
Hmm.
Because I grew up in the hood. I'm African
Yeah.
American, and in our society, there's a lot of stereotypes behind Black people. And for
Right.
me, growing up in a low income neighborhood, low income, lower class, you don't have the support system to recognize whether someone is gifted or whether someone is talented, especially in
Exactly.
low income neighborhoods. And I'm not tooting my horn at all, because like when you're a Black kid growing up in the hood, the idea that you might be gifted is totally and it's just off the books. And
Right.
it's only now at 29 that I'm realizing that I think I might be gifted, because of how I've been treated and regarded as throughout my entire life by family, friends, coworkers, total strangers. Like people always treat me as the exception to the rule, because like I did not fit into stereotypes around Black people or Black
Right.
kids. Like I was always different. I was always the black sheep. I was never understood, never taught to
Hmm.
anyone in school. So I think everyone has something in them that society, the powers that be, do not want to be cultivated.
Hmm. I feel you. I think that, I mean, that answer in itself, I think, proves that you are a very, I should say, like a learned person. I feel like you've probably read a lot and you experienced a lot. A worldly person, I think, is the right word. Would you consider yourself a worldly person?
I feel like I consider myself someone who's becoming. I think the gift of getting older is that you
Hmm.
gain the experience to be able to understand who you are as a person, who you've always been.
Hmm.
So I mean, no, I'm someone who's becoming, because
Yeah.
now as an adult, I have to pick the pieces back up.
Yeah.
Like for example, with math, when Hato was talking about math, I realized I never really, I mean, I struggled with math in school.
Yeah.
I failed sixth grade twice, but now I'm an adult and I'm able to look back on my childhood with compassion and realize that I never really sucked at math. That the
Hmm.
highest level of math, the highest level of math I could understand was algebra. And
Right.
it's just that I didn't have the support system or the teachers that put the time into helping me understand those subjects. But now that I'm
Hmm.
an adult, I realize that I do have the opportunity, I have the potential to understand those things. And now as an adult, I'm just picking the pieces back up. Now I need the role models to understand who that child self was. And so I turned to, role models like Buckminster Fuller, Roy
Hmm.
Ascot, Gene Youngblood,
Shout out
people.
Buckminster. He's a
Yes,
genius.
Buckminster Fuller, he was legitimately a genius, and he's one of my biggest role models, because I needed new models to understand who I was as an artist and a
That's
person,
awesome. That's
because I knew that
amazing.
drawing alone would not satisfy me. I've
Yeah.
been at drawing for so long that I realized that even if I became the most world class illustrator, it would not satisfy me, because this is not it.
It's
I
not the
love drawing. Yeah, I
scale,
love drawing, but this is not it. Like
You
this is
need
something.
something, yeah, more important, more
It's
what's it
just
called?
it's drawing is
More
technology.
profound. Yeah,
It's paper, it's pencil and paper. But the things I want to create in the world cannot be done through just pencil and paper.
exactly. They're actions and ideas, bigger than the page. That's awesome.
Exactly. So yeah,
That's amazing to
I
hear.
needed yeah, I needed new role models that I was not given growing up, especially growing up in the hood. Like I needed
Yeah,
new models to understand the world, to understand who I was as a person, and it's taken me 11 years since I graduated high school. And Trixie is one of those role models that helped me to better understand who I was as a person.
that's awesome. Perfect segue, by the way. So, what would you say? How did you get here? How did you end up in this little group?
Well, I've been following Trixie since I graduated high school in 2015.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
started with her analytical diatribe on Sword Art Online.
Oh yeah, I remember. I mean, that when that video came out and like it started gaining traction, I remember being like, "Oh shit, she's made it. She's done it finally."
I
Like
watched, I watched like hundreds of times because of how entertaining it was.
that's
But
amazing.
yeah. But the irony is that like I watch all of her Sword Art Online videos, and like the irony is that Sword Art Online is still one of my all-time favorite shows. So
Mhm.
the thing is like when you're like I first watched Sword Art Online at 17 and it blew my mind. Like even today it still blows my freaking mind because
Yeah.
like I never consumed a story like that before other than The Matrix. But like The Matrix is not an anime. I mean it's anime in spirit, but like I've never watched an
Right.
anime, something that I love, like explore virtual reality. I never watched anything like that before. And
Mhm.
so Trixie's like, I was gushing about like basically I was dit writing Sword Art Online for years until I watched that diatribe, and so that video helped me, like Trixie's critical analysis of that anime helped me to better understand what I got out of Sword Art Online in the first place.
Right.
And what I loved about Sword Art Online is that it explored the implications of virtual reality on society and consciousness.
Mhm.
And so, like, I thought that was pretentious as a high schooler, but like, I didn't understand that this is something that theorists have been talking about for like at least 60 years. And
Right.
so that's how I came to technoetics. That's how I discovered Roy Ascott. Like I wanted to learn more about what I got out of Sword Art Online. And I eventually discovered Roy Ascott, and he's been around. He's like, dude's almost 100 years old. And he, coined technoetics, is like the convergence of art, technology, and consciousness research. And um, so the thing about Sword Art Online is that I kind of lost my train of thought here, but I wanted to understand what the implication of virtual reality meant for artists. Like what skill sets would we need to
Right.
learn in order to be on the forefront of science and technology for a world that doesn't even exist yet?
Mhm.
And so I spent like the past 11 years trying to like fall in that question, and I wanted to learn out, wait, what would I need to learn in order to be able to create a world like this? And so I identified that, like, that's why I realized that drawing alone would not be enough, because like what the most limiting belief one of the most limiting beliefs for me was the idea that I'm just an illustrator, that I'm just an quote
Mhm.
unquote artist. But through people like Ascot and Youngblood, I realized that paradoxically there are no mediums, only mediums. And
Mhm.
that doesn't sound like it makes a whole lot of sense, but the thing is that mediums are hyper relevant, but also irrelevant.
Mhm.
That the medium is the message, and that and I think that's why I've gotten tired of a lot of the media nowadays, is that we any one medium can only do so much, and any
Mhm.
one person can only do so much. Like an illustrator can only do so much, a physicist can only do so much. In order to create the things that we imagine that don't even exist yet, we have to become polymaths or work with people to make those ideas a reality.
Mhm.
And once I realized that, I knew that while I love drawing, I had to learn new skill sets. I had to have conversations with people outside of art in order to bring these ideas into the world. And, Sword Art Online, Trixie, Roy Ascott, they've all led me down this path to where I am today. And now, as I'm approaching 30, I want to build that skill set in order to create those worlds I envision.
That's fantastic. All right. I think you've actually covered my questions about goals as a creative and a person in that, because you're very good. You're a good podcast guest. I think I'm going to turn it over to group questions, and then we can wrap this up. Does anyone have any questions for Momocon?
Yes, I have a question. What is your favorite cheese?
Yes, cheese.
No. I guess I would say vegan cheese. Let's just say that I'm vegetarian, so
Oh yeah, I knew this was going to happen eventually if we kept asking the cheese question.
Now-
vegan cheese substitute. Well, what's a sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Real quick, I mean, regular cheese is vegetarian. It's a byproduct.
Well, I mean, I think cheese conceptually can be made out of anything. I think like food is as much a cultural experience as it is a literal one. Like, I think it's all chemistry. So like you can it's about making a food that can emulate it's basically art but with fats, acid, and salts. So I mean I love cheese. I eat different kinds of cheese, but I just had to say vegan cheese because no one has said it yet.
I feel you.
To keep myself from intensely picking your brain on this introductory podcast, I'm going to ask a silly food-related question. What is your favorite type of milk?
Oat milk.
Oat milk is good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding about that because I kind of like I stopped drinking cow milk. It's just I don't like it anymore. I love oat milk.
All right. I think I think we have time for one more question. Then I do have to bounce, but let's get in one more question going if we have any.
Sure. So Momo, have you ever heard of the Loper OS guy?
Who's that?
Okay, so I don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like you and him have kind of the same kind of crazy, and it's not. I don't want to compare you to him much because he's really kind of pig-headed and stubborn, and I don't get that from you. But like, he's like, I'm gonna completely rebuild computers from the ground up, and you're not really like, I'm going to rebuild art from the ground up, but like you're like, I'm going to create all these new like experiences that haven't really been done before. So you kind of remind me a little bit of him, but like I said, he's kind of pig-headed and stubborn. Like he thinks everybody should be using corded keyboards like the micro writer. Because I mean, yeah, his argument is, I guess technically it would be better, but like nobody's going to do that because they already have the QWERTY keyboards. Same reason why the Dvorak layout never caught on. So I just you kind of reminded me of him a little bit.
I definitely see where you're getting with this, and I see what you're saying. And the thing is that the thing about reality is that we take for granted what already exists, but the thing is just everything that exists had to be pioneered or created by someone else. And if we're talking about, I mean, I've been learning Japanese for almost 6 years, and one of my favorite words I've learned was from Fullmetal Alchemist, and the word is Fukano Kano ni suru, which means to make the impossible possible. And I feel like everything that exists that we take for granted today was the result of making the impossible possible over the course of generations. Whether it be video games, the internet, anime, like when you think about all these things, it's wild that any of it exists, even democracy. And I think, like because I'm really into like the 2000s Y2K Frutiger era aesthetic. The Frutiger era is the idea of a future that we were promised. And a lot of people look back on that with nostalgia, and me too. But the thing about time is that we don't want to go back to the past. We don't want to live in the past, because I think that when it comes to nostalgia, it's like it's a mosaic of subjectively good and bad times. And that's always what human history has been about, like a mosaic of subjectively good and bad times. But the thing about Frutiger Arrow, the thing about any utopia, because utopia does not mean perfect world. Utopia means a desired world. And there's nothing more desirable than a democracy, nothing more desirable than a world without a hierarchy. Every utopia is a democracy. And creating utopia, it's a prefigurative politic. And artists have always been at the forefront of creating new worlds. And I think that even now in 2026, with how bad the world is now, a new world is possible. In fact, a new world is needed. Because I think that I'm tired, because media is consciousness. And what I mean by that is that media is a reflection. Basically, media cannot evolve until the culture does. And as great as anime and video games are, I feel like they have a hell of a lot more evolving to do. Even pornography. And I'm really serious about that because I'm tired of a lot of media today because it's playing it safe. It's not evolving enough. I think, for example, we need a countercultural video game movement at this point. I think more artists need to be involved in science and technology as researchers, but also as people who can provide valuable discourse to the development of these new technologies that are shaping the world today. So I think like the future of humanity is multifaceted in that artists need to become design scientists to people who can operate across different fields in order to create the imaginaries that we see in manga, anime, and video games. So I think we owe it to the younger generations, to future generations, to make the impossible possible.
Well, that's fantastic. I can't think of a better way to call it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to episode 3 of Golden Butterflies. There will not be another introduction episode, likely. So if you haven't been introduced yet, feel free to still sign up, and you can just talk about it in the episodes that you're on. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Please send me your audio when you can, and I will see you later.
How do you want us
And
to...
also, my favorite cheese is mozzarella or whatever kind of cheese you can eat in a block, just out of the fridge.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to ask you. I'm so sorry.
There we go. I answered it.